Hey everyone, welcome to Coding Wizards. My name is Akash Verma and I have 7 years of experience in Android and Flutter development. You can read more about me on this portfolio. So, today we are going to start with async await and try catch, how you can use these things, because async awaits are most important things in the Dart for asynchronous operations. So we need to understand these things before we do some API implementation and rest of the like asynchronous programming. So today I have this single file. I opened it in the split mode. This one is the file where we have defined the fetch data function for the API call. So we are simulating like 2 seconds delay, then we are printing a statement that that data has been fetched and returning a value. Like in this case I am returning just 1 as a number. So its return type is a future int, because we are using async and a return statement, so we need to add a future type of return type in the function. So this is a function for the API call. Then we have another function to like simulate a API call. Here we are not returning anything, we are using a callback type, where we have passed a callback function inside this, so that whenever once we get the data from the network, we will call this function to get the data, send data back to the like caller activity or widget or controller. So these are the two ways we can return a response from a function. So then we have a try catch kind of function, where we have try, then catch, then finally we will see how these things are combined with the async await. So that's why it is important to know, because many people make some mistakes, the critical mistakes. I will explain these things also. So this is the basic syntax, how you can wrap something inside a try catch block. So we have try, then a curly braces, then whatever code is written inside this will be cached if any exception is thrown inside the catch block. And when this one runs, and even if this one runs or throws some exception and it is cached inside this block, this block is the one that will be executed in any case, whether catch block is executed or not. So finally is always like will always run in any case, whether there is some error or not. So we can add some cleanup kind of things where we can clean resources. So this is a basic try catch function. We also have a on operator, like on, where we can catch some particular type of exception. So we will talk about that in later classes. For now we stick to the simple implementation that everybody can understand. So these are the things. Then we have, there are 8 cases which we will see today in this video. So we want to keep the like I want to keep the video short, so I am covering only async await and try catch in this video. So I have listed all the possible ways with like how we can implement these things. So we will see that. So each function has its own implementation, and we are calling same function, same API function in different ways. Like in this we are calling normally without any async await, and in this we are awaiting the result. In this we are using the then operator. So these are the things. So let's start executing it. So let's see the code side by side in 2 pans, so that we get the idea what is the implementation and where we are calling in. So these are the functions that will be used for the API calls, for the network calls, and this is the main method that we will execute. So first we will see this first case. So let me add the return statement so that the rest of the code don't get executed. So like it all went like grace, so it is like unreachable code. So when we run this one, only this will be executed, and then from here it will return. So nothing below this return statement will get executed in this call. So first we will see the implementation of call API. So call API is listed here. So let's see the code here and the functions here. So this one is we are calling, it is printed here. So here we have fetch data function, we have two print statement, API, the function is like API call is started and ended, then we have fetch data which is defined here. So in this function we are like simulating a network call, 2 seconds delay, then we are printing fetch data and returning one. So in this call we are not waiting for it or storing the data anywhere. So let's see what will be the output of this. So where is the main? Here one. So see, this one got executed, then this one got executed, and without printing this one got printed. So this is basically the output when there is no await statement before this, because whenever we use await, it will block the function execution from below this line until it will like wait for the result of this method, like it will resolve the future that is it is returning. So if we are not writing await or we forget to write await, it won't wait for the result and it will, the any statement below this line will get executed. So this was the first case. This is never, like we don't write like this, because whenever we fetch the data from the API, either we store it in the variable or use callback method to like update the views UI. So like this. So this is the first case, and we will see the second one. So let's return add here and comment out this one. So only this one will be get executed. So this one is the second case where we have API call started, then we have same function like this one, and we have 2 second delay, then data fetched and return statement. So in this case we are actually awaiting the result of this function. So we have added await, and whenever we add await inside a function block, we need to mark it as a async function so that it returns future or void. So instead of this we can also return this, then we won't be able to add the await in front of this, like whenever we are calling we don't like we won't be able to await the result. So let's, in this case let's stick to this implementation. Most of the time we will use this kind of thing if we are awaiting something and returning something like this. So let's see the its output here, and let me clear the console, the logs. So let's see, only first one they are being printed sequentially. This one got executed and got printed, then we got inside the fetch data, and inside the fetch data we have 2 seconds delay, so we got some delay here, then fetch data printed, then we returned the result and we stored the result inside the data, then printed the result. So this line got printed, then we are printing the API call ended. So this is the basic standard way that will be used most of the time by most of the developers, depending on which implementation they prefer. If they return something, they must use await, or the another way, or like this one, that will be the next case we will see. So this one is the basic implementation where we return something from the function, and if function the return type is future, then we must add await and async on the function, the calling function, and the data will be stored inside the variable, and until this line gets resolved this won't get printed. So that's the basic case. Let's move to the case 3. So let's add it here, and now we will see the call API. So whenever we want to get data out of a async function, we have two ways: either we await it or we use then operator or function. This is a then callback kind of function where we, whatever thing is being returned from this, we use then its result will be here. So this will actually won't wait for the result, and this line will get executed. So let's see the output first, then we will discuss. So here you see API call started, then API call ended, then the actual data, like data fetched from the function, this function, and then result which is being printed here, they got printed late, and this statement got printed earlier than the result. So this is non-blocking type of like getting data out of a async function. This is a non-blocking, that we have called some function. So with this function we can call it twice, thrice, all the functions will be executed parallelly. So this and with this, if we call it twice, thrice, this will be called and will wait for the result, then this will be called and wait for the result. So this will be a sequential execution. So, and this is a parallel execution in which we are not waiting for any result, we are just collecting the result inside the then operator. So whenever we get the data from this will be called, whenever we get data from this, so all the lines will be executed in parallelly. Let's see the example, let's see the execution also. See, when this one got started, it got printed, then suddenly this one got executed, then this one, then this one, then this one got executed. So we have in sequence like this one. Let's add a print statement here also, so that it is like we get better understanding how these things are working like in parallel. So API call started like 1 and 2 and 3 and then ended. So let's see the output. Now it will be more clear. See, the first one got started, then second one got started, then third one got started, then we got the end, the API, all the API calls has been executed. Then we are like, whenever we get the result, we print data fetch, print, data fetch, print, data fetch, print. So this is the way of parallel execution, where we can execute async functions parallelly. Like we have like on dashboard we have multiple APIs and want to execute them in parallel, don't want to wait for any of the like API's result. So this is the way we can use it. There is one more way, we will talk about it also. So this is the way, the case third. Now we will move on to the case fourth, where the most preferred, like by me, I mostly prefer this way of calling the APIs. So we'll also talk about why. So this one is the function call API with the callback. So here is this one. So this is the function block, and I am using that was returning a result out of a function. This one is not returning any result, and also I have added async but not added future here, because we are not waiting for it. Here I have added no await. Even if I add await, it won't allow it, because it is not returning a future. So if you want to await it, then we must return a future, and future can be returned from only functions which have async like annotation, async suffix, prefix, whatever it is. So we are not waiting for, so we returning just simply void, don't want to wait for it. So this is the same function, just instead of returning something, we have passed the callback function. We discussed it in the previous video. So whenever we get the data, we just invoke this function and it will return the result. So let's see how it is working. So here we have data like API call started, then we have called the callback function, then we have passed the function. Actually this is the anonymous function. So when we get the data, we will simply print it, and we will print the API end. So let's see the output of this. here we will run. So see, this one got printed, this one got printed, and it is not blocking the like execution. So this line got executed, this function got executed, then we move to this line without waiting for its result, because we are not awaiting it. So whenever we get the data, we get the data inside it. This is the same case with this one, just that it is returning something, so we are using then, and it is not returning something, so we are passing a function that can be called from that function to get the callback. So that will be like kind of callback pattern, we can say that. So this is the way that I prefer, because let's say in this method, if we want to fetch some data from the local database and return it if there is any, then hit the API, and if API gets some new data, we can return it again. So it is not possible in this case, like return 2, like this is the 3 number that is stored in the local database. Like here we can add some logic to fetch local database, then we got the value 3 and we have returned it, and now we want to also call the API, but it is not possible, because from one function we can also only add one statement, either from the local database or from the server. So it is not possible with the return statement. So this is not a recommended way of like adding API implementation, because many times we create repositories for checking the data from the local and the APIs. So that will be like very difficult to manage this. Another way of managing this, that we store this data inside a future, then this data also inside a future, and return both the future in one shot, and then wait the future here somewhere, like calling where we are calling, then resolve both the future parallelly or sequentially, however you want. So that will be a lot of complexity in the code. So we want to make the code simple, so that everybody can understand, like whether you are working with the team or alone, or the people who will work on that project after you like exit the company. So this is the way I prefer. This is like my way of doing things. So this is like we don't, and this is also where we can add multiple parallel executions. So none of these functions are waiting for the result, so all will be executed parallelly. So let's remove this one also, or I will upload this code on the GitHub so that everyone can practice it and practice it with and get more understanding. So this one we have seen this one. Now let's move with the try catch. The most common errors, like mistakes that we make generally, are with the try catch and finally block. Mostly it is with the finally block. So we will see the implementation of this, and call API with try catch. Simple. Call API with try catch. Call API with try catch. Okay, this one. So let's clear the console and execute the function. So here we see the API call started, ended, and finally got printed even the before the result, because we are not we haven't added any await statement here, not we are using a callback, neither we are using like dot then operator. So the execution is like this one got executed, this one got executed, and it is not holding like waiting for the result and get this got executed. Since there is no error, this won't be executed, and finally got executed. So finally will be executed in every case, whether there is any error or not. So this is the standard way where how things work without the await statement. So let's move with to the next case. Like this one is interesting. try catch to call API with await and try catch. So this one is the one. So here we have this one, API call started, then we fetch the data, waited for the result. Once we got the result, we printed it and ended the API call, then have catch and finally block. Let's see the output. So see, API call started, waited for result, data fetched, result printed, API call ended, then finally got printed. So this is the way that this is the standard way when we use await normally, then this will be the sequence of execution. So this will be printed, then we'll wait for the result. When we get the result from this function, we'll print it, then print the next statement. Then if there is any catch, then we'll go to into this. Since there is no catch, so finally got printed. So finally works only with the await. If we are not using await, then this will be printed before we get the data from this function. So this is the common mistake that we make when we use this kind of callback. Like, let's see the next case, then it will be more clear. So we have case 7. So let's see the output first. See, data, this got printed, this got executed, but not waited for the result. This got executed, then this got executed, and then after the data, we got the data from the server, and then result is printed. So this is the common mistake when we use then and finally also. So finally won't work in this case. It will be printed before even we get the API successful, we get the data from the API successfully. So this is the common mistake. If you are using finally, then better use await. If you are like want to some cleanup, so better use cleanup here, like debug print cleanup. When we get the data, then we can clean the resources like this. So this is the standard way if you are using then to clean up the resources though. So we can clean the resources here, not here. This is not recommended way. Not recommended. Okay. So this is. So we have seen the 7 cases. Now let's move to the last one. We don't need return anymore. So this one is the last one. So in this also all last 3 cases are with the callback. So we are using the try catch only. So here we have, let's see the output first. So see, in this case also this got printed. We call the API and not waiting for the result because we are using callback pattern. This got printed, then finally got printed, then we got the actual data. So this is not recommended at all, the finally thing. So whenever we use then to get data out of a the method which is returning something, then we can clean the resources inside then body. If we are using a callback pattern, passing a function for the callback, whenever we get the data, the function will return, the function will be called, we get the data inside the body. So this is the pattern. So better clean the resources here, not there, like this. Recommended data. So clean the resources here. Practical example, let's discuss one practical example. So you all have seen the output. So whenever we call some API, so we do like this, like we have some global class level function is loading is equal to false. Okay, So whenever we call the API, we make it like true, and here finally on the finally section we made it false, that we got the result. Now we are like disabling the loading. So this won't work. This one be executed, then this one, then this one, then this one, and then this one. This will not be printed. This will be printed actually after the finally has been printed. So we have disabled the loading very early. So this is not the recommended way to use loading or any cleanup type of thing. Instead of this, we can disable the loading here, that we got the data, whether it is error or success, we got the response from the API. Now disable the loading and show the actual data to the user. We will talk about how we can manage the success, loading and error from the repository itself or API call itself. So this is the recommended way to disable loading. This is not like here, this is not recommended. This is not recommended and this is recommended, because this will not work whether you write it or not. This won't work. Same is the case with this one. So if we are doing like this and we have added here and added here, so this will be printed first and then this will be get executed. So maybe if we are just simulating a 2-second call, let's say API takes 5 seconds, so this will be executed in milliseconds. The loading will be enabled, then loading will be false in the next moment, and we will wait for the 5 seconds without a loader on the screen. So this is not recommended way to add loading or something here. So better if we are using then disable loading here, and if we are using callback, then disable loading inside the callback. Actually when we get the actual data, then since we are not using await, and there is one problem with the await also, because if we want to fetch the data from the local database and the APIs, then this won't work, because we can only result one thing, whether it is from the local database or from the API. So better use this thing, the callback function. This is the only way where the clean way, actually simple and clean way to return multiple things from one function, because there is also a possibility to return multiple things from this. So instead of returning direct result, we can return a pair of result or something. Like here we can use multiple futures inside this, like we can make it record. There is one thing like record, like this is one record and this is another record. So instead of returning value, we can wrap it inside the future. So future returns another future kind of thing. So that will be very complex to understand, and that will be not recommended by anyone. So better use callback functions to be on the safer side. Like today we are implementing a repository to make some network calls, and tomorrow the manager tells you that manage the local database also, cache the result, and whenever there is no network, load from the local database, and if there is network, then load from the database, local database also, and from the API also. So user sees some data on the screen while there is loader loading some data from the API. So in that case you will be safer side, you don't have to move or migrate your code. So if you are using this one, like we have passed something inside this, a function which will, like here we can add multiple calls, we can return multiple things. So and wait for like add a 2 seconds delay like this, and here also and here also we are using multiple APIs, like multiple sources, like this is a local database, this is a API, and this is something. So let's see the output of this also, and this will complete our session on this topic. So we have this function here and it is here. So let's see how many times this got printed, because whenever we get the result, this will be get printed. Okay, so let's run this. See, these things got printed. This is the first result, this is the second result, this is the third one, and this is the fourth one. So we got 4 time callback, actually 5 time, because we are not, there are a lot of statement actually inside that. Where are these? Like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, like 8 time returns. So we can add that. So instead of this, let's put this one example, so that I can, when I commit the code, you get this one also, so that you get the idea of what we actually discussed. So in this case we can return multiple things. In this case we can return either this one or this one. We cannot return multiple things. If you want to return, I told you there is a way, but not recommended at all. That will be very complex. So I think async await and try catch has been done, and this is the all that you will need for API calls and managing the loading error. For the loading error, we will see some advanced logic behind that, where we can return, instead of only result, we can return the state, like loading state. Check the network, if network is not available, return the error. So there will be like types, the kind of like which state it is returning, whether it is a loading or success or error. There are multiple ways, we will discuss all of them. So thanks for watching, stay tuned for the next video. In the next video we will discuss the classes, and after that we will discuss the inheritance, and we also have enums. So we will discuss enums with the classes, and then polymorphism and Dart inheritance. There will be hardly 3 videos more. So thanks for watching, stay tuned for the next video.